NFL Week 1, who you going to pick, Falcons or Saints? College football Week 2, who you going with, Michigan or Notre Dame? And we'll tell you who's hot and who's cold in fantasy football. Play to Win is being brought to you by John Foy and Associates and Kia Mall of Georgia and Mall of Georgia Chrysler Dodge Jeep.
Welcome to Play to Win with former Falcons All-Pro defensive end Chuck Smith. Game analysis with Adam Brown. Fantasy Football League previews by Nikki Williams. Play to Win expert Jeffrey Schechter. Injury updates with Dr. Andrew Lalage. And your host, Atlanta sports veteran Bob Neal.
Our college football report is being brought to you by Mall of Georgia Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Kia Mall of Georgia. All right, Jeffrey and Dr. Lalage will be along, of course, later in the show. Chuck Smith, Adam Brown, Nikki Williams, yours truly, Bob Neal, right here on the set. And we're going to start with our college football report. Last week was week 1 in college football. We've been waiting for it all year long. And this week, not so much in terms of big games. We do have a few we're going to talk about, particularly some key games, but just so you keep up with everybody, some games of interest. Florida State will blow out the Citadel. Of course, you see Florida Atlantic at Alabama and the other games. The only in-conference game in the SEC this week is Ole Miss at Vanderbilt. But what I want to talk to the group about right now as we get started, guys, is what we learned from last week. A lot of big teams in play. Georgia, South Carolina, Alabama, FSU. Chuck Smith, what'd you learn?
I learned that this dog's offensive line is physical. They're nasty. Shocked me, Bob, how they dominated Clemson in the second half.
They got that big line, and they've got 5 running backs that they can throw in there, huh? Something else.
Dogs can get after them. Surprised, Bob, that they got after like that.
Adam Brown, what'd you learn?
I learned Steve Spurrier can still throw a visor really, really good. I mean, he was tossing that visor all over the field. Their defense was exposed, Bob. Defense was totally exposed. I'm anxious to see how they could compete if they get better. Right. But Mike Davis being hurt at running back for them is a big loss.
And one of the things you could look about of South Carolina is the fact that they faced a really good quarterback with Texas A&M and Kenny Hill.
Thrill Hill.
Trill Hill.
Trill Hill.
Trill Hill. T-R-I-L-L. Hill. H-I-L-L. Johnny Football. That's passé. That's history. That's old news. It's Trill Hill for Texas A&M. Nikki Williams, what'd you learn?
Oh, I'm so happy about my dogs. But on from that, FSU. Such a disappointment. The uniform was a disappointment. That collar was disgusting. Alabama, also a disappointment. You're talking about 2 of the most highly anticipated teams of week 1, and they couldn't. FSU should have lost that game.
You really think so, Chuck?
A win's a win.
A win's a win.
Any win,
right.
I don't care. As long as you win, that's all that matters. Now, imagine if any of those teams had lost. What we'd be talking about.
Oh, that's right. We'd be talking. And they did get the win.
And they got bullseyes on their backs. They're the best of the best, so everybody gets up for them.
And by the way, speaking of Oklahoma State, Jeffrey, who's going to pick a lot of games for us as usual, picked Oklahoma State. Told you to go with Oklahoma State and the points last week. He was right. He had a good week, by the way, 5-2. And as you know, against the spread, that's a really good record. Later on, he'll be picking all the games, including in the lightning round. Now we want to start with the big game of the week. And I think everybody would agree that it's Michigan at Notre Dame. Michigan and Notre Dame have been playing for 120 years, and this is the last time they'll play until further notice, which disappoints me greatly as a Michigan guy. I have my tie on, by the way. I even have the M down at the bottom of my tie. However, let's find out what the experts think about Michigan Notre Dame. We're going to start first of all with Nikki's notes.
Well, Bob, you're not alone in being disappointed. It's a huge game. It's a night game. It's a rivalry game, and it's the last one. Notre Dame's got some secondary woes, though. Also, Michigan, Myth, remember when they played the chicken dance?
Yeah.
Last time, I think these guys are back for some revenge, and there's also a quarterback duel that we're looking at. Both the teams are bringing it. No one wants to lose this last game.
Yeah, Notre Dame is favored in the game. Jeffrey's going to pick it in a little bit. What do you think is the key to this game?
Well, the key is for Michigan's defense, Bob. They have to stop Everett Golston. Didn't play well last week. That is the key. If Michigan's going to think about winning, they got to stop Golston. From the other side of the board, let's look at it. Golston is lightning in a bottle for Notre Dame at quarterback. They have to protect him, run the ball. He's going to have to throw it, get downfield, and make some plays.
All right, Adam, what do you think?
I want to look at the other side of things. I want to look at Michigan's offense. I want to look at Devin Gardner to Devin Funchess. My sources in Michigan tell me that they're going to try to throw the ball down the field and expose Notre Dame's defense.
Well, Michigan throwing the ball. New offensive coordinator, huh?
Doug Nussmeier from Alabama.
Makes a lot of difference. All right, and now it is time to pick the game. And Jeffrey, it's Notre Dame minus 4.5. How do you see it?
The end of a great rivalry. This should be a good game, but I think Michigan's going to have a little too much speed for Notre Dame. Take the Wolverines and the 4.5 points.
Okay, hail to the victors. Go blue. I am not going to sing the song, but maybe at some point
don't
during
do
this.
that.
Maybe at some no, because then I'd have to hear Rocky Top from Chuck. So I'm not going to sing the Michigan. Thank you, Nikki. All right, and that, by the way, I talked about. There's not a lot of big games, but we do have one other game we want to talk about, which is our feature game. The College Football Showdown of the Week, brought to you by the Georgia Lottery. All right, it's number 7, Michigan State, at number 3, Oregon. Oregon and Marcus Mariota, very impressive last week. Nikki, give us your notes.
This is a high-profile game. We're talking NFL scouts all over the stadium for this one. Early season playoff pressure for sure. Spartan defense is number 1 in the nation versus rush back in 2013. And where was the Ducks kicker? Last week, their starter was grounded, and no one is saying why.
Yeah, and we're not even sure whether he'll play this week, which could be a big factor in that game. Jeffrey will know when we go to him in a minute. How do you see the keys to the game?
Well, I see the keys for Michigan State. It starts with Connor Cook at quarterback. Hadn't always stepped up big in the big games. He has to be able to throw the ball because Oregon's going to score a lot of points, Bob. So guess what? Michigan State's going to have to make some plays in the air. And on the other side of the field is going to be Marcus Mariota. He is the most electrifying playmaker in college football for Oregon at quarterback. He will make plays, so that makes it imperative that Michigan State's defense steps up, but Oregon's got a quarterback. He just needs to do what he does.
All right, Big Ten, Pac-12, how do you see it, Adam?
Well, very, very exciting matchup early season. Everybody talks about Michigan State's defense, which they're fantastic. I want to talk about Connor Cook a little bit more. Go a little inside the numbers a little bit.
Yeah.
Cook was 12 of 13 for 285 and 3 touchdowns in the first half last week. That's pretty impressive stuff. He's been throwing the ball to Tony Lippett, 4 catches, 167 yards and 2 touchdowns last week. If they throw the ball like that, they're going to hang in there with Oregon, and they have a chance to beat them in Eugene.
Yeah, high-scoring game, guys, you think?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, definitely.
Of course, it would obviously be. Let's find out now what Jeffrey thinks about this. And Jeffrey, as I check the spread here, it's Oregon minus 12.
When they talk about great college coaches, they talk about Urban Meyer, Nick Saban, Steve Spurrier. Well, Mark D'Antonio is as good as any college coach around. If you watch Michigan State over the years, they always improve as the season goes along. Last year, they started the season, they didn't have a quarterback. By the end of the year, they beat Ohio State and Stanford in the Rose Bowl. This year, they're going to be tough from beginning to end. Oregon has their usual high-speed offense. The Ducks are going to be tough at home. This is going to be a dogfight or a duck fight. Take the points with the Spartans.
All right, a duck fight. The Sparty won't like that very much. And now, of course, coming along later on the show, our exclusive segment about injuries in the NFL. And let's go to Dr. Andrew Lalage. What do you have for us today?
We have tight ends, tight ends, tight ends. We have injury report cards on Rob Gronkowski, Ladarius Green, and Jimmy Graham. What does that grade mean, and how will that affect your fantasy team? Stay tuned. We'll let you know later on in the show.
All right, Dr. Andrew Lalage with our exclusive InsideInjuries.com report a little bit later. We're going to come back in a moment and talk about your hometown teams. How about them Falcons? How about them Saints? Next.
It's our huge end of summer super sale at Kia Mall of Georgia during our 10th anniversary. Fantastic deals like this. Get a new 2015 Kia Sorento starting at only $19,997. And don't miss this special on the 2015 Kia Optima LX. They start at just $17,997. Less than perfect credit during our 10th anniversary sale. Credit is no problem. Kia Mall of Georgia, 2.5 miles west of the Mall of Georgia, or online at lovemykia.com.
Richer than rich, I want the life of a superstar. I'm making the switch, signing autographs like a starter for real, making fly new commercials from my mega shoe deal. Rolling in the locker room, I'm one of the crew. You used to take me to the bench, boy. Now what you gonna do? I hit the player payday, my heyday. So much money raining on me that the banks are crying Mayday.
One scratch and you could be living the player's life. Play the Atlanta Falcons Player Payday Scratcher, new from the Georgia Lottery.
Right after I got hurt in my car wreck, the other guy's insurance company offered to fix my car. They only offered me $750 for my injury. And they wanted me to sign this.
Don't sign anything until you've talked to me. I'm Attorney John for the Strong Arm. You may be giving up tens of thousands of dollars by signing the insurance company's release form. Call me.
And they offered me this check for $1,000.
Don't take that check. Let me get you the money you deserve. Call in the strong arm.
Call attorney John Foy, the Strong Arm.
Hometown Team Report is being brought to you by Mellow Mushroom Pizza Bakers, bringing a higher order of pizza to Atlanta for 40 years.
Finally, the NFL is underway. There's a game right here in Atlanta, Georgia Dome, Atlanta Falcons and the Saints. Nikki, get us started with Nikki's notes.
I told you my feelings last week on this game. They have not changed. I'm going to wear my protective headgear. That means you too, Falcons fans, because these Saints fans don't spare women, children, or elderly. Breeze, 13-3 versus the Falcons. 9 of the last 12 games came down to last possession. I want to know, is Devonta Freeman the X factor, though?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, Steven Jackson, I think, is going to play in this game, but Devonta Freeman could be the guy. What do you see it, Chuck?
Well, I see in this game, the key is at quarterback for both teams. You got two of the best quarterbacks in the game. Starts with Matt Ryan with protection. If the Falcons don't protect, Falcons have no chance. And on the other side of the ball, Drew Brees is going to try to throw the ball early and often. The Falcons' defense hasn't exactly grown up to where the Falcons want them right now. So I think they have some challenges. So whichever quarterback has the best day, Bob, that's the team's going to win.
All right, Mr. Insider, Adam Brown, how do you see Falcons Saints?
Time of possession is key for the Atlanta Falcons this year. Last year, they threw the ball 68.4% of the time. If the Falcons can run the ball, control the clock, they're going to have a great success at winning this game, great chance of winning this game this year.
All right, it is time now also for our 68 seconds with 680. We caught up with the 680 star that you're going to see in just a moment at a Braves game, but he's talking about the Atlanta Falcons.
Hey, it's Steak Shapiro from Sports Radio 680, The Fan, and I've been in Atlanta almost 20 years covering sports, which means almost 20 times have I gotten to watch the Falcons and Saints live at the Dome in one of the best rivalries in the NFL. And tomorrow's game is just one of those delicious matchups. The high-powered Saints coming in with aspirations to go to a Super Bowl, and the Falcons trying to rebound from a nightmare 2013 season. So what's going to happen? A lot of emotion, a lot of balls flying through the air, and in the end, the Falcons have a great chance to take the crowd and the momentum and use it to their advantage to hang with one of the NFC's best teams. In the end, though, I think Drew Brees and that great collection of weapons, including a brand new rookie wide receiver, Brandon Cooks, may be too much. Saints narrowly over the Falcons, 30-27.
All right, 68 seconds with 680 and Steak Shapiro this week. Now it's time to pick the game. Jeffrey, the Saints minus 2.5. How do you see it? Falcons, Saints.
Saints have an improved running game. They've improved their defense. They have Drew Brees, who's a monster. Now the Falcons are an underdog. They're at home. It looks inviting. Forget about it. Falcons have more questions than meet the press. New Orleans all the way. Give the points.
More questions than meet the press for the Falcons, said by Jeffrey the Edge Schechter. By the way, Georgia Tech struggled a little bit with Wofford early in that game last week, but Georgia Tech won going away this week. They're down in Tulane, new stadium down there. How will the Yellow Jackets do? I predict a victory down there. I'm going to make the prediction myself on this one as they play at Tulane. We'll be back in just a moment with more. This is Play to Win, the most unusual and unique television show about football on the air.
Why can't I have a slice of yours?
You're a cartoon. You can only have cartoon pizza.
It's not fair.
Look, this pie is 100% real, and you're colored ink. It's physics, man.
Well, can you buy me a beer?
I can buy you a cartoon beer. Are you single?
It's surprise.
Everyone wants real Mellow Mushroom Pizza because our pies use premium meats and cheeses, fresh veggies, and spring water dough baked with wheat goodness. Mellow Mushroom, a higher order of pizza.
Hello, Georgia. I'm Debbie Alford. This year, we're celebrating our 21st birthday, and over the years, we've earned a reputation for being the best in the industry, and it's all because of you. Thank you for an amazing 21 years, and as you continue to enjoy the games of the Georgia Lottery, always check and sign your ticket immediately upon purchase. It's the surest way to guarantee you are the rightful owner, and only you're entitled to the prize won. So play it smart, Georgia. Check and sign every ticket.
The Dr. Andrew Lalage Player Medical Report is being brought to you by Piedmont Healthcare.
All right, welcome back to Play to Win. It's time now for our exclusive player medical report. Nikki's with Dr. Lalage.
Standing here with Dr. Lalage. Now, we don't really have any new injuries this week. Most of our starters are resting, but we've got some pre-existing injuries that you're going to give us some grades on, right? Same old G's, we'll call them.
Yes. So let's start with Ladarius Green. We have given him an A+. He has no major injuries. What that means is that we expect him to be 95% on the field for the season. Now, if we look at Jimmy Graham, we have given him a B+, and what that means is we expect him to be 75% on the field for the season. Why is that? He's had a torn plantar fascia, affects his start-stop movement and planting movement. He's had an ankle injury and soreness, multiple ankle sprains, affects his side-to-side movement, and that's why we've given him a B+, 75% effectiveness. Let's go to Rob Gronkowski. He has had a ton of injuries. We have given him a C-. We expect him to be on the field 50% of the time for the season. With multiple injuries to his ulna, he's going to have a difficult time fending off those defensive backs. And with a torn ACL and an MCL, we only expect him to be 50% effective on the field.
I see what you did there. The good, the bad, the ugly.
Yes.
For more on Dr. Lalage's injury reports, head over to InsideInjuries.com. How will this affect your fantasy teams? Stick with us on Play to Win.
Take to the road and take advantage of our summer clearance event now at Mall of Georgia Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Take $10,000 off the 2014 Ram Crew Cab, starting at only $25,999. Take $5,000 off a 2014 Jeep Cherokee, now only $18,999. Or save $5,000 on all new 2015 Chrysler 200s, only $19,999. Be sure not to miss this summer clearance event at Mall of Georgia Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram or online at yourdodge.com.
Today's injury report is brought to you by John Foy and Associates. If you've been injured in an accident, be sure to call John Foy, the strong arm.
All right, Dr. Lalage goes inside injuries, and now I'm going to give you the NFL injury report of some of the key players leading up to today's game, the games this weekend. Of course, you see that Steven Jackson, hamstring, expected to start for the Falcons. You see the situation in Baltimore, Dallas, Tony Romo back hurting. He's starting. Wes Welker has a concussion, but that doesn't matter because he's been suspended for 4 games because of potential substance abuse. And as you see, Brandon Bostic for the Green Bay Packers is out. All right, time for our fantasy football. And now, if you're in a league, I think you'll find this crucial, but I think you'll like it no matter what the case is, particularly because of our fantasy girl, Nikki Williams.
Well, that's mighty nice of you, Bob. Why don't we start with quarterbacks? I like Drew Brees versus Atlanta. Pains me to say it, but I like that for your fantasy this week. Also like Colin Kaepernick versus Dallas because I think the Niners are looking for a strong start. Dallas looks like a sacrificial lamb out of what they just came out of preseason with.
All right, Adam, let's look at your fantasy projections. What do you point out up there on the screen?
I like Nick Foles this week. The Jags defense allowed 9 quarterbacks to throw multiple touchdowns last year. I think he's going to have a big day.
Okay, Nikki Williams, running backs, over 60 playing in an average league.
And thank goodness you have us to narrow it down for you. I like LaShawn McCoy versus Jacksonville, and I also like Matt Forte versus Buffalo. Adam, I think you and I see eye to eye on that one,
Matt Forte all day
So excited.
long. Buffalo was 23rd in the league last year versus the run.
All right, there you go. Matt Forte all day long. Wide receivers and many a 75 in a 12-team fantasy league. Sort them out for us, Nikki Williams.
I'm going to sort them out for you like this. Brandon Marshall versus Buffalo. That's your guy right there. Julio Jones versus New Orleans. See how I flipped that up on you a little bit?
I see that.
Yeah.
All right, now how about it, Adam?
Calvin Johnson, the guy's money. 9 catches, 145, and 2 touchdowns this week. I have him projected to the Giants secondary is not very good.
All right, so Calvin Johnson, big day.
Big day.
All right, play him. There you go. This is our fantasy report. Help you play in your league every week. We're going to come back and talk more NFL right after this on Play to Win.
Your life moves fast, so when you want it fixed, we know you want it fixed fast. I'm Tommy Estes, and we'll fix it at the speed of light. Go to estesair.com and see what we can do for you with our heating and air residential services. Your factory authorized Carrier dealer is dependable, proven, and ready to help. Save energy and money with a dual fuel system from Estes Services.
We're Estes Services. We'll fix it at the speed of light.
Right after I got hurt in my car wreck, the other guy's insurance company offered to fix my car.
but they only offered me $750 for my injuries, and then they wanted me to sign this.
Don't sign anything until you've talked to me. I'm attorney John Foy, the strong arm. You may be giving up tens of thousands of dollars by signing the insurance company's release form. Call me.
That same day, the insurance company said they will fix my car and offered me this check for $600.
Don't take that check. Let me get you the money you deserve. Call in the strong arm.
The NFL Report is brought to you by the Greater Atlanta Nissan dealers. Innovation that excites.
Okay, we have 2 feature games for you in our NFL segment here. Jeffrey will be picking both of them. Remember, we've already talked Atlanta Falcons and New Orleans Saints. We're going to talk about a game, first of all, that's in the Falcons division, and that's Carolina at Tampa Bay. Nikki Williams, how about your Nikki's notes?
This could be a close game, maybe a little too close to call. It's got some upset potential. We're talking about a solid offense in Tampa Bay versus a solid defense in Carolina, and it's all lovey-dovey. New head coach Lovie Smith really going to get the most out of this Tampa Bay defense. Who's going to be Cam's new mate? And what I really want to know is, can either team score? They're going to be locking horns.
All right, Chuck Smith, of course, our expert analyst. What about Cam? He's a little banged up, right?
Well, Cam first needs to learn how to take care of himself, Bob. Didn't he learn from Mike Vick the experience of being hurt as a running quarterback? It's really important. He's got Kelvin Benjamin, young rookie quarterback. But the problem here for Cam, the offensive line's young. They didn't create in the offseason a better offensive line. They actually got worse. And it's going to be tough on Cam playing against a tough Tampa defense.
All right, let's find out what Jeffrey the Edge Schechter thinks about it. Jeffrey says here, Tampa Bay -2.
Last year I picked Carolina to make the playoffs, and they did. I don't think they did anything to improve themselves in the offseason. Matter of fact, I think they took a step backwards. I think Tampa's the improved team here. It started out with Carolina a 2-point favorite. Now Tampa's a 2-point favorite. Give the 2 with Tampa.
All right, next feature game is Colts and Broncos. How about your notes, Nikki?
This game's going to be all about the quarterbacks, and it should be. Peyton Manning taking on his former team and the guy that replaced him. Are they out of luck, though, the Colts? Because their O-line is pretty banged up right now. Peyton's payback, that win last year that the Colts took over the Broncos was pretty emotional for him. The Colts have won 8 straight versus Denver.
Well, that's an interesting nugget of knowledge from Nikki. I noticed the alliteration there. Chuck, how do you see it?
Well, I see it always starts with the Denver Broncos with Peyton Manning. The blueprint is set. Hit Peyton Manning, you have a chance to change the dynamics of anything that happens for this Denver Broncos team. For the Indianapolis Colts, to me, it's going to be about defense. Can they get to Peyton? Robert Mathis is suspended for 4 games. The key is getting to Peyton, so it's really Denver's offense versus the Indianapolis Colts defense is the key, whoever wins.
All right, let's go see what Jeffrey the Edge thinks about it. Jeffrey, Denver -7.5.
Seattle exposed Denver for what they really are. Defense, not that good. Running game, mediocre. Receivers, not fast. And Peyton's arm isn't as great as it once was. I don't see Denver going too far this year. Colts are strong. Reggie Wayne is back. Luck has all his weapons. The 7.5 is very dangerous. Take the Colts.
Take the Colts. And by the way, there's never enough of Jeffrey. We're going to come back with his lightning round. 5 more games that he'll pick for you. Right after this, we'll continue on Play to Win.
If the car was invented today, it would run on the most affordable energy source available, electricity. It would charge overnight. Every morning, you'd wake up with a full tank ready to go. If the car was invented today, it would be the 100% electric Nissan Leaf. With over 800 million gas-free miles driven and automatic HOV lane access, the question isn't why electric, it's why gas.
The 100% electric Nissan Leaf. Electric driving made affordable. Nissan. Innovation that excites.
The Wizard, can you make me real so I can eat real mellow mushroom pizza instead of cartoon pizza?
Stand back. Here we go. Alakazam! Wiggity stickity poof!
I'm still a cartoon.
Then that'd be a no.
Everyone wants real mellow mushroom pizza because our pies use premium meats and cheeses, fresh veggies, and spring water dough baked with wheat goodness.
Wiggity stickity poof.
Mellow mushroom, a higher order of pizza.
Boom, there it is. I'm richer than rich. I want the life of a superstar. I'm making the switch. Signing autographs like a starter for real. Making fly new commercials from my mega shoe deal. Rolling in the locker room, I'm one of the crew. You used to take me to the bench, boy, now what you gonna do? I hit the player payday, my heyday. So much money raining on me that the banks are crying Mayday.
One scratch and you could be living the
player's life. Play the Atlanta Falcons Player Payday Scratcher, new from the Georgia Lottery.
Time for Jeffrey's lightning round, but first let's review what Jeffrey has picked so far today. Then he'll have 5 more games for you. One of the things I want you to particularly note is that he's picking San Francisco over Dallas, San Francisco giving 5. Jeffrey, how about the lightning round?
Visor alert in Columbia. East Carolina throws the ball like Texas A&M. They're going to score points and cover the 17. Boise State got shredded last week. Colorado State looked good. I like Colorado State to cover the points. Oregon State travels to Hawaii. It's a little hot there. It's a little hard. I like the Golden Rainbows. In the pros, Houston 2.5. A lot of talent. New excellent coach in Bill O'Brien, and no Matt Schaub to throw interceptions. And I just like San Diego with 3. I think they're going to go far this year. Take the points.
All right, remember, Jeffrey the Edge was 5-2 last week. This guy knows what he's talking about. And now we've got one more pick for you from a medical point of view with Dr. Lalage.
Look out for Michael Crabtree. He's had 2 years of a hamstring strain. Now he has a grade 2 calf strain, which kills the speed for a wide receiver. Look out for him as well.
All right, Dr. Andrew Lalage, remember we have him on every week with InsideTheInjuries.com to talk about the injuries for your fantasy team and any player that you're following. Well, guys, that about wraps it up for our second show. Let's go one more time on that Falcons-Saints game. Who do you like in the game, Chuck?
I like the Falcons at home in an emotional win. I believe the Dome rocks. I think the Falcons take a big step towards competing for a playoff spot in 2014.
All right, New Orleans favored by 2.5. How about you, Adam?
Falcons control the clock. They win the game by a field goal.
Okay, I have a feeling that you're not on board with this.
Y'all are full of it. The Saints are going to win this game.
Yeah, all right. She hates it. Former Falcon cheerleader. It still runs deep. And remember, Jeffrey also said take the Saints and the 2.5 points. That's it for Play to Win. Remember, we're trying to help you play to win.
Today's show has been brought to you by Mellow Mushroom Pizza Bakers and the Greater Atlanta Nissan Dealer.